What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Good people. This is Wake Up with JRICH. Unfortunately, the captain of the vessel, he's on vacation right now, but I appreciate all you for tuning in. Skip Richards, as I'm known to our hardcore everyday fans, is in the building. Stone, how are you doing on this Friday? Bruning, happy to have you here. Lindsey Mack, appreciate you guys being here for the show. It's going to be a good show. It'll be a lot better than that football game we saw last night. I'm telling you, I am sick and tired of watching Dallas Cowboys games, but because of Ray, every single week, here I am watching Dallas Cowboys games, watching Zeke barely make it to the line of scrimmage every single play. Thank God for Tony Pollard. Thank God Taysom Hill can run the ball. That would have been the worst game anyone's ever seen. But we have a great show today. We're going to do a lot of props. We got into a lot of our favorite games this week. So we're going to hit a ton of props today. And I'm going to go through all kind of my favorite little things we got. Hey, Stone, you're right, man. Taysom Hill, not a quarterback. Wake Up with Jay Rich is here. So let's get into the morning run. Wake up. This is the morning run.
Run, Forrest, run!
Now, this wouldn't be Wake Up with Ray G if we didn't start with the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, I mean, what can we say? Kellen Moore, just, what is he doing, man? What is he doing? I don't know why. It almost doesn't feel right. It almost doesn't feel right now to be talking about Dallas because this is a show about winners. This is a show about good play. We skip over the bad games. We don't even talk about those. But here we are, and whoa, wait a minute. What? Who's calling me right now? Who's calling me? Oh no! Live from Mexico. It's Ray G.
In the building.
Ray G, how you doing?
In the building, baby. You didn't think for 1 second that I was going to allow you to do this. I know this is not easy to do. I know you were nervous as hell. I had to wake up early on my vacation just to make sure that this damn thing stayed on the track. So here I am, a little bit of robe and nothing underneath besides the shirt. But you will not slander the Dallas Cowboys. Listen, the game last night wasn't a good one, but 8-4, baby. We're 8-4, and we got it done.
So for you, how did you feel about Kellen Moore? Because to me, this is the biggest story. They should have put the Saints away. They didn't really let them back in, but they should have just ran the ball, ran out the clock. What was your perspective on the play calling aspect? Because while Dan Quinn's defense did their end of the bargain, 4 picks, all this stuff was great, it was really Kellen Moore who didn't really hold up his end of the bargain. Like, this game should have been over by 11 o'clock. It lasted 11:30, almost 11:45, and for what?
Well, I think, a part of it, when you get these assistant coaches that sort of take over for the head coach, they try to invigorate like a spark for the team, right? And they're going for it on 4th down. They're trying some different plays. Like, as I'm watching it, you're right, especially towards the end of the game. Like, the play calling down the stretch, like, versus a good team, that's how you lose football games. But part of me just thinks that they knew that Taysom Hill wasn't going to be able to do anything versus them. So they're like, whatever. Like, it was a great win because Dallas got the win. But it was ugly. The offense struggled early. I think at one point in time, there were 5 straight 3-and-outs by Dallas. Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb still trying to get back on track. Amari Cooper wasn't supposed to play. Then he comes in, makes a couple of plays, but he's not all the way back. And it was an interesting game plan. It felt like it was the week that they just tried stuff out. And remember, we talked about this about 2 weeks ago. Dallas had to play 4 games in 18 days. So
yeah,
I do believe – I don't know if this is a thumbs up for Mike McCarthy, but I just think Dallas has to play better down the stretch. But you know what? In the NFL, man, when you see teams like the Washington football team beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, when you see the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Buffalo Bills, every win is a good win. There's no such thing as a bad win. I think there was some bad play inside that game, but you have to be encouraged by Tony Pollard. You have to be encouraged. What was the most interesting to me was the utilization of Micah Parsons as a more traditional off-the-ball linebacker, and he still got a sack. First player since 2010 to have 70-plus tackles, 10-plus sacks in his first 12 games since James Harrison. That was the last player to do that. Just unbelievable type player. The defense forces 4 turnovers. Tony Pollard, 100%, looks like the running back who should be getting most of the touches out of that backfield. I'll take it, man. It was a dub. And yes, good morning, good people. Stone, Lindsey Mack, all of y'all, man. Y'all know I wasn't gonna leave y'all hanging. But we got it done. They needed this win. This puts them at 8-4. So I'll take it, man. I'll take it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the funny thing about that game is you had 14 points of garbage time and they still didn't hit the over. The over was 47.5. I told the audience, I think this game's going to go under, and they still didn't hit that. But what's crazy to me, I think more than anything, is like you watch Zeke out there and he says he wants to play, but you're looking at him and he's hobbled, he's limping, he's not explosive. He's the Zeke we saw the first few weeks of the season. Then I don't know where he went to go get some treatment, was looking better, looking more explosive. Now he's kind of back to just running in the mud again. And I'm not really sure what they do with him at this point. He clearly needs rest. He clearly needs to take some time off. I don't know. I don't know if it's a pain tolerance issue. He's talking about all these various things. But for me, at least, I think that they need to do a better job of managing him, like managing his workload, managing how many plays he's getting, because he shouldn't be in this much when he's not playing this well. It's not helping them win football games. Especially you talk about at the end of the game, he's grinding out the clock, and you see him hobbled the whole game. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, the strength of this Dallas Cowboys team for the past, 5-6 years has been the rushing attack. And you look at what they did. Zeke 13 for 45, Pollard 7 for 71. Dak Prescott is no longer, we talk about those Konami code quarterbacks for fantasy football. I think Dak Prescott's over-under rush yards was 8.5 last night. And on the first play of the game, it looked like he was going to pick up like 12, 13 yards running the ball, and he throws an incomplete pass to CeeDee Lamb. Right now, the running attack isn't the strength of this team, and the passing attack is not clicking. So they've got to figure it out. And while we're in great position to make the playoffs, if the Dallas Cowboys want to do anything in the playoffs, they've got to figure out this offensive attack. They've got to figure out a better way to get Tony Pollard those 15 touches that Zeke got last night and start to scale Zeke back. I don't think maybe the knee injury has something to do with it, but I just think this is what happens in football, man. Running backs hit that wall, and then it goes downhill from there, We've asked this question in fantasy about the Saquon Barkleys, the Christian McCaffreys, the Calvin Cooks. Zeke Elliott, man, he's looking like he's just turning into God. I mean, it's just crazy. He looks like Adrian Peterson right now, and he's like 10 years younger than Adrian Peterson. It's just crazy to see. But good win for Dallas, and I guess we can all say the Taysom Hill experience at quarterback is probably not a good one. His stats are inflated because he got that 70-yard touchdown pass to Harris in garbage time. But outside of that, Taysom Hill has no business playing quarterback in the National Football League. If you want to line him up in the backfield, I think he's a better running back than Mark Ingram right now.
Absolutely.
I think he's the best running back on New Orleans outside of Alvin Kamara. They should 1-2 combination those guys, but he has no business playing quarterback. 4 turnovers by Taysom Hill. Just does not look equipped to play the position in the NFL. Very unfortunate for Saints fans, and I think that pretty much put the nail in the coffin for the Saints' playoff hopes.
Yeah, no, they're done. They're, like I said, in the show notes, it was Pollard's big run, Gallup's catch in the end zone, that was spectacular, and if you liked watching Taysom Hill do his best Lamar Jackson impression with the 100 yards on the ground and 4 picks, then I guess to each their own in that regard. But like you said, it was a good win by Dallas. There's not much more to say about that. But I want to switch gears a little bit, because I'm not sure if you saw Brian Kelly yesterday. I'm not sure if the audience saw Brian Kelly. He was at LSU. He finally made it to Baton Rouge. He was at an LSU game, doing his thing, talking to the crowd. And when he delivers his speech to LSU faithful at the basketball game, he did it in a very particular way. He's telling the fans that he wants to win games. He's going to do a great job. They're going to win tons of games. They're going to recruit great players. But he did it in a Southern accent. And you're kind of like, wait a minute, Brian Kelly, you're from Boston. And so the amount of memes, the amount of hysteria that went into this game, this one speech was amazing. Like, Ray, I don't know if you ended up seeing this, but there was one tweet, and I wish I could give the guy credit. He was like, okay, now let's see Ed Orgeron go take the vacant job at Boston College and do a Boston accent, because how funny would that be? I was just like, And then there's I think it was Hayden Winks who posted the video of the old white guy doing the gritty, saying this is how Brian Kelly's gonna fit in LSU. He's this old white guy in a grocery store doing the gritty.
Just doing the
Oh
gritty.
my!
Yeah.
One of the I'm telling you, people, if you have not seen this speech yet, it's ridiculous. Brian Kelly sounds like such an idiot because everyone knows, like, you can watch any of his interviews. He does not have a Southern accent. He's just pandering to the crowd like a showman, or I don't know what the hell he was doing, but it's just so stupid.
That was funny.
I was dying.
I've got to be honest, though. When I go out of town sometimes, especially in the U.S., I so play up the Texas accent. It's like extra Texan, you know what I mean? I've got my cowboy boots on. I'm like super Southern. So when I saw it, it was just a funny little clip because he was definitely pandering to the LSU crowd. So that was a funny little moment last night. But I saw, dude, I'm sitting back and I'm watching, and I thought it was a mistype, an edit. 152 points in a basketball game? What the hell happened?
Look at you, gracious guest host Ray G, with the segue to the Memphis Grizzlies. The worst margin of victory in NBA history was last night. It was made. The Memphis Grizzlies beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, for those of you watching at home, seeing only the Jordan meme because they should be crying at home right now. 152-79, margin of victory of 73 points. The Grizzlies didn't even play their starters more than 20 minutes. The bench players, 6 of 7 were in double figures. I mean, what is there to say about Oklahoma City? This is why you don't just tank and have 20 first-round picks in the next 4 years. Stuff like this is going to happen to you when you put a JV team out in the NBA. I mean, I didn't watch the game. I had zero interest in this game. But to see this scoreline pop up, I'm like, come on. Like, this is the NBA. At the end of the day, these guys are all professionals. And to lose that badly, that's just terrible, man. Like, that's just god-awful.
Yeah. I have nothing to say. I just wanted to make sure that was a real score, and apparently that is a real score, and just mind-blowing. Nothing else to say from me from that standpoint, but that's insane. The Oklahoma's having a bad week. It's a bad week for Oklahoma fans. If you live in the state of Oklahoma, dude, they just keep pouring in. Lincoln Riley, me and Lincoln are on this trip. I know y'all think it's an anniversary trip. Old Lincoln sent me out here for all my being a loyal USC Trojan fan through the Clay Helton years. So we're just kicking back and bringing in recruits. But it's been a sad week for Oklahoma. Good grief.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the props now. Since you're here, I'll be able to run some of them by you. I got lots of good ones in the show sheet and with the graphics. So let's beat the rush, baby. Wake up! This is Beat the Rush.
Get out of the way, jackass!
So, Ray, I want to start in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay versus Atlanta. It's in Atlanta this week. So I want to ask you, how do you feel about Tom Brady? Tom Brady is a player that we like to tout almost every week. You know, he's the GOAT. He throws for a ton of yards. He does all this stuff. But I'm not so sure how I feel about him this week. Last time he played Atlanta, he only threw for about 275 yards. This week, he's got an over-under of 303 yards. Easy number for Brady to hit. We all know he can hit that number. But I don't feel that confident in it right now. He's playing Atlanta. It's in a dome. I'm just kind of like, is he really going to throw for that many yards?
Are you serious right now? Like, are you serious?
Okay, but last game, he didn't throw for he hasn't been throwing for that many 300-yard games. He's got some massive totals, but recently, especially after the bye, he's not throwing that many yards. He's getting the touchdowns. They're running the ball with Leonard Fournette. They're methodically moving the ball down the field. Everyone's playing cover 2 against them. I don't know, man. I don't think it's not a number I'm willing to bet right now. 303 passing yards over under. I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Versus, passing touchdowns. If you want to go the over on 2.5, you get plus 115. And he threw 5 touchdowns against Atlanta last time. He didn't get to 300 yards, but he threw for 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably, I like that as well. This is don't just remember, this is a division game, right? It's a division game, and to a certain extent, it might be a get right game for
absolutely
Tampa Bay. And not that they've been playing bad, but maybe this is a week for them to. They're playing an opponent that they should 100% dismantle. You see the line is set set at minus 11.5. Tampa Bay favored by 11, excuse me. This is a game they should win easily, right?
Yeah.
Easily. And uh, this could just be what the doctor ordered for Tampa Bay to get their passing attack on. Rob Gronkowski back another week in this offense,
Mm-hmm.
playing well. I do like Tom Brady over two and a half touchdowns. Maybe the yardage is a little high, but I don't have. I think this is a get right game. It's a divisional game. You want to punish your division opponent, and Tampa Bay needs to jockey for. Listen, no one thought Washington was going to beat them. No one thought Washington would beat them down. And
Yeah.
they got to double it out. And I am not about to predict Atlanta beating Tampa Bay.
There
Uh,
you go.
but I do think Tom Brady is in for a big game right now. DraftKings Sportsbook has him as the favorite to win NFL MVP at plus 350. Josh Allen second at plus 500. So he's still in the driver's seat for that narrative. So I do like some Tom Brady props, man. I may be inclined. I may have some guts, man, and say he goes over 300 with
Okay.
Gronk, with Godwin, with Evans, and he hits
Mm-hmm.
his passing over. This could be a really big get right game for Tom Brady.
Yeah, so like for instance, the past 2 weeks, I was looking back to the past 2 weeks after they came off their bye, and that's the weird part is that like Godwin's targets are going down, Evans' targets are going down, but the one guy whose targets aren't going down is this man right here, Rob
Yeah.
Gronkowski. Gronk has been on fire ever since he came back from injury. He's had at least 71 yards and 6 receptions in the last 2 games. Dude has just been on fire. Over under 53 and a half receiving yards for Rob Gronkowski. To me, it's Gronk smash time. You have to take this number because he's going to do it again. He's playing against Atlanta. Atlanta's not very good. Chris Godwin, on the other hand, 69 and a half receiving yards. I just don't love it. I just don't love it for Chris Godwin. He's not playing overly well. He's doing fine. Don't get me wrong. He's doing fine, but he's not playing stellar. He's not playing to the Chris Godwin. To Stone's point in the comments, AB suspended for that old fake vaccination card. Gotta love it. You submit the fake vaccination card. Tampa Bay Buccaneers didn't even know. AB gets those 3 games. I mean, I guess you could say he's immunized to playing this week. He's immunized to playing for the next 3 weeks. He's pulling an Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't need the vaccine. He doesn't need a real vaccine card. He's just doing his own thing. He's
How
being AB.
honestly, real quick, man, how does Aaron Rodgers lie or not disclose the fact that he's vaccinated, show up to media press conferences without a face mask, walk the side? Like, how does he get nothing? And Antonio, I'm curious. And I'm not saying one is worse than the other because Antonio Brown, you're an idiot because you were unvaccinated as
Yeah.
well. And regardless of how you feel about the vaccine, like that, I'm not here to talk about that. The rules are be vaccinated, or if you're not, you got to wear a face covering. You've got to take different, precautions and protocols. How did Aaron Rodgers escape accountability for this? And I'm truly asking because I don't know. How does AB get 3 and Aaron Rodgers doesn't get anything?
I think part of it was I believe the NFL always knew that Aaron Rodgers wasn't vaccinated, right? Because he had to submit his he had to submit his own alternative therapy that they denied, and so but they turned a blind eye to Rodgers, right?
See, but
Versus actually lying about it and submitting for like fake documents. That's to me is the difference. So I understand them turning a blind eye is just as wrong, but he didn't lie to the NFL. He told them he was immunized. Just the NFL decided to turn a blind eye to Aaron Rodgers. A bit of favoritism there.
like
He
that,
didn't
come on,
submit fake documents the way that Antonio Brown did. 3 games is pretty severe though. That's a pretty severe penalty even for the NFL.
but if health and safety and the general well-being of your organization is the driving factor of why these rules are put in place, regardless of how each player got there, neither of them were vaccinated and neither of them followed the protocols and the steps and the guidelines of the NFL. Like it to me, regardless of the path that they took to get to the destination was unvaccinated and not following the rules. Like I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I know that's a completely different topic. We're here to talk about props. Um, I I don't know. And I see Bruning say submitted a vaccination card, which some are saying will eventually be a felony. Um, they didn't know Rodgers wasn't vaccinated. Brown submitted. I don't know, man. To
Yeah,
me, it seems double standardy quarterbacky.
for sure.
Antonio Brown, he's already been a problem. But we can't. The reigning NFL MVP will
Yep.
he got nothing. He got nothing is my issue. I'm not saying he should have got. I don't know what. I don't think the NFL knows what these
Yeah.
players' punishment should be. But for Aaron Rodgers to get a zero, I think they fined the Packers what $100,000. Like what is that?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah. I don't even think they lost
man.
draft picks or anything for that. It was just
Nothing. Nothing.
whatever.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Neither here nor there. Chris Godwin, that was the prop, right? Chris Godwin, we were talking
69 and a
about.
half receiving yards. How do you feel about Chris Godwin? We know AB's not playing, but AB hasn't been playing, and Chris Godwin hasn't really been stepping up in a major way. We've seen a lot more Leonard Fournette, and that's a prop that's not available right now is Leonard Fournette, any reception prop. He's got 6+ in the last 3 games he's played. Ever since the bye, he's had 6 in every single game. I'm expecting his prop to come in around 4.5, depending on when it comes in. Uncle Lenny, man, what can we say? The dude is just on fire right now.
He's playing well. I think he's one of he's up there in NFL lead for reception from the running back position. So
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see his receiving prop. If that opens up at 3.5, 4.5 receptions,
Oh,
I'd be
yeah.
inclined to take the over on Leonard Fournette. I'm with you. I'm not sure on Godwin. Again, it's Atlanta, man. We just saw Dallas dice them up 40 something. Like it's Atlanta. So honestly, Jay, I'd probably be taking, if I'm as bullish on Tom Brady as I am, I think you can roll the dice and take some overs. I think with AB out, target consolidation is still going to funnel, in my opinion, Rob Gronkowski and Chris Godwin. So I still like
Absolutely.
Chris Godwin.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So then I think at that point, if you're going to go that route, you take you don't take AB, you take Godwin, you take Gronk, and you take Brady, all overs, and then obviously take the Brady touchdowns. And then as well, Gronk hasn't scored since he's returned from injury, and he's plus 130 on FanDuel to score. I really like that number for Gronk. Anytime you can get Gronk at plus odds to score, I think that's a good bet. Now, I want to move forward a little bit because Atlanta, I'm not talking about Atlanta. The only bet I want to make on Atlanta is Mike Davis under on his rushing yards. The books, they closed it. They're not doing it anymore. That was free money for how long? Yeah, they don't even offer it anymore. They don't even put it at 5 yards. I remember there was 3 weeks in a row I think we hit that number because he never plays. So just keep taking the under on rushing yards. But I want to move forward a little bit. I want to move to the Bengals and the Chargers, like we talked about on Wednesday. My game of the week, number 1 versus number 5 in 2020. I'm super excited for this game. And there's one guy I'm really excited for more than anybody. It's Joe Mixon. Death taxes and no rush defense from the LA Chargers. Joe Mixon. I told you I would take this number at 90. I told you I would take it at 95. I told you I would take it at 100. It opened up on the books, at least today when I looked. 86.5 rushing yards for a team that has allowed 145 per game on the season. Joe Mixon averaging 144 yards per game his last 2 games. Joe Mixon, man. What is there to say about Joe Mixon other than he is balling right now? Love me some Joe Mixon.
I mean, he's killing it. He's on fire. I think it was on one of the show notes we talked about before I left. He's averaging 29 carries and 144 yards over the past 2 games.
Yeah.
And this is one of the worst rush defenses in the
worst,
NFL. Yeah. Joe Mixon is balling right now. What's crazy is on that show, I asked you, I said, is Joe Mixon leading the league in rushing or second in the league in rushing?
Yeah.
And the answer was no, because Jay, who is still second in the NFL in rushing?
Oh, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry leading the second in the league in rushing.
Insane to me. Derrick Henry is that currently still the case? I'm assuming nothing has changed.
Nothing's
Derrick Henry is still second in the NFL in rushing.
Yes, sir.
Dude,
he hasn't played since like week 8 or something, and he's still. It doesn't make any sense.
Derrick Henry was about to shatter every rushing record that we'd ever saw. Like, I just wish he would have stayed healthy. Damn pinky toe. But yeah, I'm with you. Joe Mixon, I'm taking the over 86.5. This could be a shootout. What's interesting is while the dynasty fantasy football community is losing it over Justin Herbert week in and week out, he hasn't really played well of late, man. He can play a lot better. He's I'm not saying second year slump. I don't think he's in a slump. He's just not
Mm,
playing the way that I wouldn't say it's a slump, but not playing the way that I guess we anticipate or expect Justin Herbert to play. I do like Cincinnati in this matchup. I do like them to
yeah.
win this game.
Oh, yeah.
I think the question is going to be if Cincinnati really leans into that running game and Joe Mixon hits his over, he's a 100-yard rusher this week. Will that make the passing attack suffer to any degree? And right now, it's really difficult figuring out which Bengals wide receiver is the one you want to target on a weekly basis with their props. So I didn't know if you plan on starting with Cincinnati, but we're kind of already there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Chase, we're seeing his number come down a little bit.
Yes, sir.
And it makes it very, very attractive this week in this matchup. Because Asante Samuel Jr. is a fantastic young cornerback. But I don't think he's going to be able to do much of anything with Chase or Higgins. Maybe they both go off. As I'm looking at these lines, man, I'm inclined to take the over on both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Chase at 63.5 and Higgins at 57.5. And on the show sheet, Higgins has hit this 4 of his last 5 games. And we know Jamar Chase, there's not a wide receiver more talented than him. It's just, can he get back on track? 4 straight games under 50 yards for Jamar Chase. I'm inclined to take the over on both, man.
All right, so I like you saying that. I like where your head's at. I'm not quite there with Chase, but Joe Burrow's over-unders 245 passing yards, which to me is insanely low. Joe Burrow is a quarterback that can easily throw over 300 yards. You have to just give him the volume, and he can get there. It's a great pass defense, and to your point, worst run defense in the NFL, step 1. RB who's balling is step 2. That's going to be the key to success for the Bengals. There's no reason why they should have to pass, and that's the only reason why I'm not necessarily inclined to take these overs. But if you're on the train, it's going to be a shootout. You think Justin Herbert's going to put together a good game and not a bad game. We're going to see good Justin Herbert this week. We're going to have to see good Burrow. They're not just going to run the ball all game long and beat the Chargers. They're going to have to throw it, at which point 245 for Joe Burrow was very beatable, and his 1.5 passing touchdowns number is just ridiculous. It's just way too low. It could easily be 2.5. But again, we're going to see a lot of Joe Mixon in this game. I would bet on that more than anything. That's why even at 86.5, I think this is a great number. They could air it out. Joe Burrow could throw over 300 yards, and Mixon could still get his 100 because he's been great this year, and he's going to get a lot of volume. To your point about Chase, I think Chase is going to get doubled a lot. I'm worried about if they use Derwin James over the top a little bit with Asante Samuel helping on D. I don't know. That's why I like T. Higgins. T. Higgins' number is 57.5. I titled this graphic Alpha in a Beta Role because T. Higgins is an alpha, man. He can do everything you need him to do inside, outside, running the slot, and he's not going to see top coverage. We've already seen coverage shift from Higgins to Chase, and Chase is suffering because of it. He's still learning how to beat the doubles. He's still trying to figure out how to get deep, and this is all part of the growing process of being an alpha wide receiver. We see it all the time, but T. Higgins, he's going to get single coverage. He's going to be wide open half the time. We saw last week Joe Burrow threw him a ball where he wasn't even open, but he knew T. Higgins was going to make the play on the ball, and he caught like a 40-yard touchdown. I just think this is a great spot for Higgins, and he's hit this over number in 4 of his last 5 games. So to me, it's like that's where the safer bet lies, is with T. Higgins. Even though I'm with you, Jamar Chase, he's 1 play away. 63.5 yards is not too many for him to do it in 1 play or do most of it in 1 play. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not going to say under on Chase, but I think I'm not going to say the over, and I just rather would go after T. Higgins, who I think is a much safer option. But again, you have Mixon already. I think T. Higgins is a great bet. But I think in your perspective, we go after Joe Burrow too, and we just bet on the shootout. Justin Herbert, on the other hand, over under 292 yards. So they're expecting him to throw a lot. And you talked about how he's kind of struggled a little bit right now. And he has struggled, but he's still getting a ton of yards, lots of volume. Brandon Staley's still airing it out a ton. But the other thing that he's doing is he's running the damn ball. Justin Herbert this week, over under 14.5 yards. He's hit that in 3 straight games. He hasn't been under 22 yards since I think it'd be week 9. So to me, if you're making a prop bet, this is the bet you want to make. You could go and chase the overs on the receiving yards or the passing yards or whatever it is from any of these players. But this is a bet that seems to be cash money. You know, the Bengals especially, they're getting pressure. They're top 10 in sacks. The biggest thing for me, and I'm sure you'd agree with this when you look at running quarterbacks, one of the things that has to happen is they have to get pressured because they have to get a reason to leave the pocket. You need to give Justin Herbert a reason to leave the pocket, then he will run. If you don't give him a reason to leave the pocket, he will stand there, he will pick you apart, or he will throw interceptions. Depends on what Justin Herbert shows up that week. But this week, against the Bengals defense, who has a great defensive line, they're probably going to play a lot of coverage. I expect Justin Herbert to have to run a little bit to get some first downs, get some extra yards. 14.5 rushing yards, I think, is a very beatable number for Justin Herbert.
So where did Justin Herbert play his college ball at? Oregon, right?
Oregon. Come on. Testing me now.
And when you think of Oregon quarterbacks, who
oh
you
boy,
think of Dennis Dixon, Marcus Mariota, Jeremiah Masoli, these quarterbacks that run the ball like crazy, right? What's interesting is, like, that's how I view Justin Herbert coming into the NFL. But when you go back and look at his collegiate stats, do you know that he never had a season where he rushed for more than 185 yards in a season, ever?
Really?
Like, he was never. And in his final season at Oregon, he rushed 58 times in 14 games for a grand total of 50 yards. That's it. Like, he didn't run the ball. Now, he goes to the combine. Do you know what he ran in the 40-yard dash?
Probably a 4.7. Easy.
4.68. He ran 4.68. 83rd percentile speed score. He's an incredible athlete that we weren't really seeing him utilize his legs to move the chains. But over the past couple of weeks, he's done that. He's hit that prop every single week. You know I love those quarterback rushing props. And Cincinnati does have a pretty good pass rush. They will get after the quarterback and cause some pressure. So right here, I love 14.5, the over on Justin Herbert. I think he's unlocking. If he can continue to do this, and this is what I mean about this whole these fantasy quarterbacks that can't move. Like, he's not a dual threat quarterback in the mold of a Kyler Murray, of a Lamar Jackson, but he's mobile enough to keep defenses honest. And when he moves outside of the pocket, it forces defenders to think a second. Like, wait a minute, this big boy can run. I've got to hold position. I've got to step up to stop the run, leaving the secondary exposed and for a quarterback who's always looking downfield to complete passes. So I love it. And just this is why I just, you don't have to be Lamar Jackson to be an amazing fantasy asset, because Justin Herbert isn't a dual threat quarterback. He's a mobile quarterback, and he's starting to take more advantage of his opportunities with his legs. So it's a long-winded way to say, and I'm with Bruning, it's strategic when he runs. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. I like the over on Justin Herbert. And Real King, this is what I said, death taxes and the Chargers being pretenders. While everybody was drinking the Brandon Staley Kool-Aid, I kept saying, just wait until he's not great and the fan base will turn on him. And I agree. I think the Chargers are pretenders. I know even you had them as some Super Bowl favorites going into the season.
I thought they could get it together.
I don't. I think they might be the third best team in the AFC West. Just full on frauds, in my opinion. They're the Tennessee Titans of the AFC West.
Oh, come on. Don't do that.
I'm just telling you, they are. They're frauds. They're fraudulent.
Oh, man.
And this is why I continue to say Justin Herbert is the Blake Griffin of quarterbacks in the NFL. He's got all the talent in the world. He's an amazing athlete. He makes amazing plays. Well, no, Blake Griffin, baby. He'll make his Pro Bowls. He'll be all pro. And don't know if you're going to win with him. We'll see, though. We'll see.
So you're telling me that even internationally, Ray G cannot help himself from slandering one Justin Herbert?
I don't slander him. I love him. I've traded for him in dynasty leagues. Listen, he's a great young player. Blake Griffin was a great young player. Did phenomenal things. Phenomenal athlete. Got to surround him with something more, man. I mean, who's to blame now? Who do you want to blame now? Who's to blame? I'm not blaming nobody.
He is not playing well. He's not.
Okay.
No ifs or ands or buts about it.
We point the finger at everybody else. But when it comes to my Cowboys, when they're not playing well, everybody wants to slander Dak Prescott. Just let's be consistent here. Justin Herbert's running this ship. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
spare me everything else. You got Mike Williams, you got Keenan Allen, you have Austin Eckler, and you have the prodigy that is Justin Herbert. I don't want to hear about it, man. I don't want to hear about it. Blake Griffin.
All right, so let's get into Keenan Allen because I think that if you're going to say Justin Herbert's going to get 290,
Stone said blame Odell.
you got to blame Odell, man. You got to blame Odell. It's always Odell's fault. Odell comes to LA, what happens? He curses Justin Herbert. Think about it. It's a direct correlation. Ever since Odell got to LA, Justin Herbert's been throwing picks. Tell me that's not a coincidence. Tell me. It's just what happens. But Keenan Allen, did you know that he's the youngest receiver to ever get 700 receptions?
I saw that stat, and it blew my mind. That's crazy.
And that's a guy who suffered a torn ACL that he lost an entire season, and he had a lacerated kidney that kept him out, I think, it's probably more than 6 or 7 games. I think it was like almost 10 games that he missed that season. Keenan Allen is spectacular. If you're telling me that Justin Herbert's going for 290 yards, I am telling you that Keenan Allen is getting at least 80 of those yards. And the Bengals are 4th in the NFL in adjusted completion percentage. And that is not the good direction. That is the bad direction. They're the 4th worst in the NFL in adjusted completion percentage. To me, Keenan Allen is a stud, and he's going to have a great game this week in Cincinnati. He's not worried about the cold. Keenan will put on his long sleeves. He'll get it done. He's a grinder. He's a slot slayer, as I like to call him. Keenan Allen's the truth, man. I think 80 yards is easy.
Like that.
Lindsey Mack bringing that bad energy to LA. She right.
Lindsey Mack had me dying over here with this. He brought that bad energy to LA. Get the hell out of here, Lindsey Mack. Leave OBJ alone. I'm with you. Keenan Allen, incredible. I like the over. I think they said it just right. I mean, he's got to hit 7 receptions and 80 yards.
Yeah. I think he's right there.
We talk about the game and the story. If this is a shootout, Keenan Allen is going to get hit. I mean, it's Keenan Allen. It's the Keenan Allen show. It's the Keenan freaking Allen show. So I'm with you on there. I'm not even gonna dive too much into that. I'm with you.
Yeah, double-digit targets in 5 straight weeks for Keenan Allen. So if he gets double-digit targets, definitely he's going to get over that mark. Tony F., coming from the mountains of Guadalajara, Ray G, in the building, in the hammock. Tony, what's going on, man? Happy to have you here. But how do you feel about Austin Eckler?
You almost blundered that name. But
Guadalajara?
You got through it. I saw the hesitation as you were saying it. But Austin Eckler,
50.5 rushing yards, 42.5 receiving yards. Not the best. Not the best.
I don't know what to do with Austin Eckler week to week. The weeks that I've said take the under, he goes over, and every week that I said go over, he goes under. My thing is, it's just it seems like when you watch the Chargers, can you ever? How many times can you just picture them calling a run play? It seems like every play is a damn passing play. It's very. I would probably take the under on Austin Eckler's rushing yards. Again, much like Jamar Chase, Eckler can bust this off in 2-3 runs and have 50.5, right? But for me, I agree with you. Just a little too rich for me personally. I'd be more inclined to dabble with his receiving yard totals, but I'd probably rather just take receptions on Austin Eckler. I'd probably stay away from the rushing line, and I would take the under if I did anything.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Now I want to transition just a little bit because it's the favorite segment of the week from all the viewers, everyone out there who loves this show. This is when we make our money. This is when the bets really start to add up, when the money starts to pile in. It's when we start talking about Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, the king of splits, the god of outcomes, undefeated by the tinfoil hat, by the splits. What's going to happen this week, Ray? Where's Justin Jefferson playing? 84.5 is his over-under. Where's he going this week? What's happening? Minnesota, in Detroit, in the Dome. What's happening?
Oh, man. Listen, this should be an easy call. But at this point, I defer all Justin Jefferson bets from now until eternity to you because
yes, sir.
You have been spot on with your tinfoil hat in the Justin Jefferson splits conspiracy. So I'm going to let you tell the people what we should do with Jefferson, and I promise you, all the way from the jungle mountains of Guadalajara, I will put this bet in, whatever outcome you say is going to happen, because I trust you with my life wholeheartedly with Justin Jefferson.
All right, so Justin Jefferson, for anyone who's unfamiliar, he has splits that are crazy wide. He averaged about 65 yards outside. When he's inside, either at home or in someone else's dome, he goes off and he averages over 105 yards per game, 84 and a half. I think he can do that. I think he can do that. I think he can do that. I love me some Justin Jefferson, man. He's a baller. He's a great player. And honestly, this should be a $1.50. This should be a $1.50, no problem. Justin Jefferson is going way over. Ray, are you with me? Is Jefferson going over? He's got to go for 150. I got a touchdown. I got it all, man. I want Justin Jefferson to have a great game this week. Great game.
I'm with you. I'm riding with you. And it's versus the damn Lions, regardless if he's inside or outside. It's versus the Lions. The best thing happening in the state of Michigan right now are the Wolverines, and if they lose this weekend, I just will feel so bad for the state. But yeah, Justin Jefferson this should be, if we had like locks of the week, this would be a lock.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson over 84 and a half. If Adam Thielen's touchdown prop number is at half a touchdown, I would take the over on Adam Thielen, pick up another touchdown. Alexander Madison, I don't know what his rushing yard total is, but I think you can parlay the Vikings in this one and cash out this weekend.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
We talk. They put up points, man. We were talking about them just being gold for fantasy football, gold for betting. I am all over the Vikings in the Detroit, and this is a divisional game. They want to pound them, right? They want to put them down. Minnesota is still in wild card contention, I believe. Yeah, they're still right in the thick of it. So I think this is a big game for the Vikings, for Kirk, for Adam Thielen, for Jefferson, for Alexander Madison, and some sneaky touchdown plays as well. What's his name? Kene.
I don't know how to say his last name.
Yeah, maybe if there's some prop for him to score a touchdown, that may also be a sneaky play. Here's something I've been dying to say, and I think I've said it before, but I'm telling you, in 2015, David Johnson was scoring touchdowns in weird ways, like one reception, 55-yard touchdown, kick return touchdowns, and they started to integrate him more into the offense. Dude, there's Falcons or Eagles squawking behind me, and I want to look to make sure that they're not close because I'm so high up in our tower here. I just want to make sure that we have been disrupted a nest. But yes, I'm all over the Vikings, and I would love to see his Kine's touchdown odds to just score anytime touchdown score.
Yeah. To your point about Madison, because Dalvin Cook is still uncertain, although it's weird, like you see conflicting reports that he's not going to play for 2 to 3 weeks with his separated shoulder, but then you have people saying he may play. He's just not practicing right now. He's not playing. And then you have Madison. So last time they played Detroit, Madison actually started. He had 25 carries for 113 yards, 7 receptions, and 40 yards. So I would be happy to take Madison's over on his rushing yards. I think it's a great bet. If there's one thing I can bet on is I know where the targets and where the rushing opportunities are going for on the Vikings. And that's why I love the Vikings so much, because Mike Zimmer just knows how to funnel his targets to his guys, and it makes betting on them so much easier. Like you said, Jefferson, touchdown and over. Thielen, touchdown because he scores more and plays better on the road. And then Madison, I would take the over on his rushing yards because I like that number. I don't love Kirk's numbers. I think I'm just going to leave them alone because I don't know if they're going to run a lot or they're going to pass a lot. But I think you're right. I think they probably win. They probably pound Detroit in Detroit because everyone likes to destroy Detroit at home unless your name is the Baltimore Ravens.
Brooding. No, not man versus wild. I've already cleared it with my wife because I watch all of that stuff. Bear Grylls. I love man versus wild. But my favorite, Survivor Man with Les Stroud is actually my favorite. Survivor Man is the best because He's out there in the wilderness by himself, no TV crew. Les Stroud is the man, Survivor man. All right, but I've cleared it with my wife that I can try out for Naked and Afraid because I think I can survive. You could put me ass naked right behind. Just throw me back there, butt naked with a couple of utensils, a flint and a fire starter and a machete, and I will forage for food. I will build shelter. I will survive 21 days in the jungle, butt ass naked. Old GQ. I've
Do you
already
know how
cleared
to
it with
start
my
a fire?
wife. Yes, I do.
You've watched enough
I,
shows. You know how to do it now.
I've watched every episode of Naked and Afraid. I can set up a fish trap. I'll be equipped right now. My wife told me to go in the backyard ass naked and sleep one night and see how well that does. But it's cleared. GQ, Naked and Afraid. It's going down, baby.
All right, so I want to talk about our next boy, Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts is playing the Jets this week. We're having issues with the ankle. So, Ray, this is more your boy than mine. You know, you've been going to bat for Jalen, Houston's finest, Philadelphia Eagles. If I could take the over on Jalen Reagor drops, I would take it, but it's not available to me right now. But how do you feel about Jalen Hurts? 44.5 rushing yards. You said anything under 50, you're feeling
Smash
it.
the over. Smash the over. If he's practicing and he's playing, he's going over. It's versus the Jets, man. 44.5 yards. I think this is to scare bettors to taking the under because
Yeah.
his ankle injury. If Jalen Hurts is active, there's one thing that's a certainty. One of the certainties in life is Jalen Hurts over 50 rushing yards. I have no concerns at all. I'm just laughing at the comments. I have no concerns about Jalen Hurts over 44.5 yards versus the Jets.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think no matter, unless he was out there with two broken ankles, a la Carson Wentz, I think and I called him Saint Nick in the show sheet because he's going to bless us with some presence in the form of rushing yards for Jalen Hurts. And the other thing I want to talk about is Jalen Hurts to throw a pick. How do you feel about Jalen Hurts to throw a pick? It's plus 125. I think that's pretty good odds. He threw 3 picks last week. He's probably not going to throw the ball too much this week, but at plus odds to throw a pick, I'm for it. Like, the Jets defense isn't that bad. They can get a pick on Jalen Hurts. They can.
Okay, so I want to pull up the prop shop, or you could let me pull up the prop shop now because I think the play that you want to do is Jalen Hurts under completions. I don't know if he's going to throw a pick. I don't even know if he's going to throw the ball enough. But
So they don't have that number right now. There's no number. If you want to take his yards are only at 189, which I think is still pretty damn high.
That's pretty high.
Why is he going to throw the ball at all? He's probably not. So at that point, it's like, just give me the under on the yards for his passing yards. Give me the over for his rushing yards. I doubt they put a completion number up there because it's the Jets. They know they're not going to throw the ball that much. So to me, if I was a bookmaker, I'm not even throwing that number out there because, like you said, you hammer that. Whatever the completions is, whatever the attempts is, take the under. Because if they're not under 20, there is almost no way he's getting there against the Jets. They're going to run the ball a ton. But I think Jalen's going to run the ball quite a bit himself. So to me, I'm with you. I think Jalen's over 44.5. I like that prop a lot. I don't really like any other props in this game. You know, Zach Wilson, you want to bet him to throw a pick. The odds probably aren't even that good because he throws picks every week. Then you got Jalen Reagor drops. You can't get that. The books don't want to throw it out there. Devonta Smith, I'm kind of like iffy on. I don't know what his number is. I can look it up really quickly. It's probably like 60 yards. Oh, they don't even have a number for him. No number for Smitty?
Oh, man.
Oh, see, they're doing us dirty. Doing us dirty.
This is just going. I wouldn't even bet that he throws the ball over 20 times. I don't think he's. I don't think he'll throw it over 20 times. I don't think they trust it. Part of me kind of wanted to see Minshew just a little bit to see how that passing attack would do with a more traditional pocket passer. But the only thing I would touch here is Jalen Hurts. And, you know, we talked about Justin Jefferson's over receiving yards as a lock. If you were just going to mix and mash different props, I think Jalen Hurts is over Jalen Hurts over rushing yards, Justin Jefferson over receiving yards would be some locks. You know, there's some other plays.
And we like Herbert too a lot. Herbert's another one we're very sure about.
Yes, Herbert over 14.5. Like those would be three nice little props that you could parlay together, and I think those three would cash. Like I love Hurts over. Justin Jefferson, and Justin Herbert. So the three J's: Justin,
Yes, sir.
Jalen, and Justin, and Jalen. I love them.
Can we add another J to that one, do you think? Do you think we can find another one in the prop shop that we
I
can just
think we
kind of
got
quickly
one
just
more
throw in
J.
there? How do we
Let's
feel
get the
about
fourth
old
J.
JT, Jonathan Taylor,
Yeah, baby.
playing against Houston, over 105 and a half
Oh,
rushing yards? Ray G,
These are his first
tell
half.
me.
These are his first half. These are his first half stats, right? Yes. Lock it in. We're going with J4. J4, J to the fourth power. Jonathan Taylor, Justin Herbert, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Hurts. Love JT over 105. This could be a 200-yard rushing performance if
Easily.
Frank Wright sticks with the running attack. Let Jonathan Taylor do work. The fact that it's even set this high, I think this, again, is to scare bettors into taking the under. When
Yeah.
I'm not even being funny. I would be floored if he didn't have 50-plus rushing yards in the first quarter. Floored.
Easily.
These are our locks. Lock them in. Lock them in. These are our 4 parlay locks.
Now, can I give you one more? Because there's one more that we both really like, and it's another J. It's Joe Mixon.
Son of a J5, baby. The Jackson
J5.
5.
The Jackson 5 this week. We got Joe Mixon over 86 and a half. We got Justin Herbert rushing yards over 14 and a half. We got Justin Jefferson, another Justin, over 150 yards, but his number is only 84 and a half. Then we got Jalen Hurts over 44 and a half rushing yards and Jonathan Taylor over 105 and a half rushing yards. Lock it in. Lock it in.
Lock it in. Lock it in. We're done. And I'll just have to comment, Lindsay, I talked to my shaman. The only way to break the curse is to wear the helmet butt-ass naked in the jungle. That's the only way to break the curse. I don't make the rules. That's what I've been told. But I do like all 5 of those plays, Jay.
Yeah. No, it's a good one. But Ray, thank you so much for coming, man. Live from Mexico. People need to understand, this is the dedication you have to this show. This is the dedication that we have each and every week, each and every day.
Yeah.
I love doing the show with you. And you love doing the show with me. It's great.
I love we get to talk sports, man, and we actively participate in the fantasy football.
Lindsey Mack picks or it didn't happen. Ray, if you ain't laying in the backyard butt-ass naked with Rashida, taking the pictures, live streaming, doing the show, we'll do chest up for the people. We got to keep it PG around here a little bit. We know the kids watch the show, but if you're there in the garden,
yes.
I mean, that's some good TV right there. I think so. We can maybe even have you trying to make a fire live on the air. That would be great.
I'm telling you, I've seen it. I just need to forage for some dry timber, some dry timber. I know which trees to use to find the dry timber, and I can spark a flame. Now, I don't have the necessary equipment to sustain it because there aren't a lot of actively dry trees in our neighborhood. But I can forge and make. I'm gonna make a fire on this show just to prove to everybody. And I'm just gonna do it naked, just for the hell of it. I'll just do it. But I do love the show, Jay. I'm glad that you were able to kind of captain this thing while I'm out. We truly appreciate everybody that taps in with us every single week. It's just dope, man. Dope community of people. Make sure you tap into the whole Bets TV platform. All that other stuff. It looks like my stream.
It's okay, Ray. It's okay. You did a great job today. We really appreciate you coming live from Mexico. Make sure you tap into the Wake Up with Ray G podcast. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe to Bets TV on YouTube. And we'll see you guys next week when Ray gets back. Thank you much for tapping in. Bet those props. The Jackson 5. They're going to hit this week. I'm telling you. We're here for you. We'll see you guys next week. We out. Peace.